has red and hair, and he's really like bad. Like you can make him like sunglasses or something, and like a small yarmulke, and a bow and arrow. Yeah, right. And Yaakov is yeshivish, and he has like a black hat with a strimal on top, and a white shirt and tzitzis, and he has a Gemara, and so we know there's good and there's evil. Now, it's got to be a little bit more complex than that. So I just want to take a look, and we'll see if we can figure this out. When Yaakov and Esav are born, that's 2 weeks ago. Not really. It's 2 parshas ago. So they're twins, and the Torah explains what they were like. And it gives, like, as the Torah tends to do, this one little line. And then as you grow up, you'll know you got to find those little lines and figure out what the message is. It's often exactly what it says, which takes you sometimes some time to figure out. So Esav, who is the bad one, it doesn't say much about it. It doesn't say no small yarmulke. If he was born with a bobby pin, it's not mentioned. But it does say like this, that he was hairy, and they called him Esav. Esav means made. Made. He was born looking mature. Right? Physically mature, that is. We know one thing about Yaakov, and Yaakov was born, and that his name came from something that happened when he was born also. Let me back up a minute. Esav means made. The word Esav means he was ready, he was shovel ready when he was born. He had, again, hair, features, he looked mature. And you'll see some babies look more mature, some babies look less mature. But this was done. Yaakov, when he was born, was holding on to Esav's heel. And the Mefarshim say that the heel means that Yaakov was the opposite of done. That doesn't sound good, does it? Yaakov's entire existence was, heel means that is at the end of your body. The word Akev in Hebrew means at the end. So Yaakov had this long-term plan. He was born, he's like, I'm not done. I got a lot of work here to do. I'm going to pull this together. We're going to work on step 1. Then we're going to work on step 2. I don't know if you know, a lot of times, if you buy, let's say, a piece of like furniture that needs assembly, a bookcase, a computer desk, whatever it is. So it comes with these annoying instructions, and often the English is like transliterated from Tanzanian, and there's pictures that are supposed to explain to you what to do, and they're often harder to understand than Tanzanian. And so sometimes you have a elementary school age boy, and they get very excited, like, I can do it. So they take it, they don't bother with the instructions because they're tough. And they try and figure out here or there, but L'maisa, what happens is that they get up to step 27, and there's like screws all over the room, and everything's like spread out, and there's 3 pieces missing already, and step 27 doesn't work. And the reason step 27 doesn't work is because they didn't read the instructions, and they did not do step 3. And therefore, there's now a piece of wood blocking the screw hole that they need. So they got to take off step 27. They got to take off step 26. They didn't do 25 either, but they got to take off another 12 steps and restart. If you want to do things right, it's going to be a long term. It's going to be an investment. It's going to be a lot of work. The opposite of Esav. And again, when they grew up, what did Esav do? Esav used to ask his father very frum questions. Whatever they were, the Medrash tells us, Rashi brings it down. He was asking very frum questions, but he wasn't a very frum guy. So here we have again, empty, easy frum guy. And when you're adults in Mitzvah Hashem, you guys are going to be solid, you're going to be amazing. You'll know people like that. That people whose frumkeit starts and ends by what they talk about. If somebody really has any of the tremendous midas that we talk about, emuna, bitachon, tefillah, right? Those are very, very, very long-term, hard work acquired midas, and that's why they're valuable. If they were that easy, then they wouldn't be that valuable. The easy stuff everyone can do right away. So Yaakov put in the steps. He put in the work. What he was working on wasn't necessarily what he needed for that day. So a lot of times, the bacher will come over and say, this and this is going wrong. And often, that's very frustrating. And the answer is not to work on what's going wrong, because that's step 26. And it's not going to help. There are prerequisites to the step that you want to get to. And that's, again, why it's valuable, because you got to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So, let's say, for instance, someone comes over and they say, they try davening, it's very hard, they space out. So, first of all, welcome to the club. It is hard to daven. But it takes a lot of maturity. So you first have to have some connection to Hashem. You have to see Hashem within your life. You have to start by picking apart a davening that reflects your identity, and it will build. But you can't get everywhere right away. You can't get everywhere right away. And that is the primary difference between Yaakov and Esau. So what happens? When Yaakov meets up with Esau, they have a wrestling match of some sort. Now, here, like I'm going to say, less deep Torah literature type, they love wrestling matches overnight, are like the most amazing thing. And Esau is trying to pin Yaakov down, and then Yaakov gets him in a crush hold, and then Esau climbs onto those funny rubber band thingies on the corner of the pen, and he bounces up and down, and boom. Does anyone know what that is? You know what that is, but does anyone else, do they still do that? I don't know. Okay. And then he bounces down, and he cannonballs down in a very uncomfortable position. So that's a wrestling match. It's very exciting. But obviously, there was something spiritual going on there. So Esau was seeing, can I conquer Yaakov? That is the whole existence of everyone from then on. And things were pretty physically rotten for the Jewish people before we came around that we don't know about, okay? You don't know what it's like every Pesach time to think that there might be, I'm not joking, axe-wielding thugs pillaging through your city, killing a lot of people. But, what? Yeah. Jews. So every Pesach, that was a strong possibility. And whatever, they barricaded their doors and they davened, and hopefully it wasn't their city that year. Not to mention any number of things. Like we could have mentioned this year that we talked about, the parrots would take bribes. Those were the good parrots. Those were the good parrots. Every time I once read in a memoir from somebody who was old when I was a child, and he lived in Europe, and he said, every time a new parrot came up, the townspeople meant to meet him, the Jewish leadership, and they took whatever hard-earned money that they had, which they were very poor, and the question was, is he a good parrot? A good parrot means that he'll take the money and he'll only torment them a bit. But if he just likes the fun too much, then the money won't help. So there was a long, long gulf in which Esau really tried to hurt Yaakov. And now he still does. And he does it in a more subtle way, but he tries to break into our heads. And as many people that speak about this, as many times as we see this, it's something you have to know. People don't like when Rebbeim say that people out there are not happy. I get this all the time. How do you know they're happy, they're not happy? Could be. That might have been when I was a kid. It might have been before that. Today it's unquestionable. They take polls, there's statistics. Happiness is tank. There's people who are people who are sitting stuffing their head with self-pleasuring garbage are miserable. You know they're miserable. Not only that, every time I get an honest moment with a bacher who's like that, and I say, you know you're miserable. I'm not making this up. I get yeses all the time. So Esau is still attacking. And what does Yaakov have to do? He doesn't fight back much, but he builds himself up. And he perseveres. And he stays on that level. But that's building a complete person. And what Esau saw at the end of the night is a tremendous, tremendous, strong pasuk. And it goes as follows. Vayar ki lo yachol eloi. After trying everything, what's a wrestling match? It means you're looking for a weak link here where I can topple this person. And there was none. Yaakov, who did the long-term building, who built everything up until he was this person that was ready to face Esav. Esav tried every angle, and again, there was obviously, we know there was whatever the Get Hanashe, it could be one of many different things. There was one, which everyone has, there was one point of weakness in which Esav persevered over Klal Yisrael. But besides for that, Yaakov came out the winner. Why did he come out the winner? Because there was nowhere on him, on his perfected human, in which Esav could attack. So what do we want to do? We want to first of all think about how we're doing, because sometimes people only think about how they're doing when things aren't going well. And that's kind of like that's kind of like trying to buy a car when it's time to go to work. It doesn't help. Life's going to be tough. High school is going to be tough. Marriage is going to be tough. But if you're tougher, it's awesome. You got to be tougher. So you got to figure out who that guy is that Hashem set you up to be, what tools He gave you. And when guys get a little older, sometimes like we start speaking about careers, about koils, about things, different yeshivas, and it's like, how do I know where? Because it's wide open. And you kind of have to figure out who you are then, because like if Hashem doesn't tell you exactly, but if He sets you up here figuratively with suede boots and a backpack. I don't even know what and a what? And a will to live. Right? So that probably He's not sending you out to be an accountant. Okay? So you got to take a good look at yourself. You got to have built that guy by then. And the key is this one idea. Long term. Planning. Do it right. What are your weak points now when you're in high school? Because if you don't fix them now, they're going to stay there. What do I need to make myself awesome? Where do I need to work on? And guess what? Even after you identify it, that's not the work yet. Then you be, okay, step one. And you'll feel a little bit like a loser, I have this little step. I'm working on saying this one tefillah properly. But you're so far from it if you're doing that because, there's no immediate results. But that's how you know that it's valuable. It's not going to be immediate results. That's going to be the foundation, and then you get the first floor, you get the second floor. So everyone at your age should be in this mindset that what can I do to build myself slowly but correctly? If you want a quick fix, it ain't going to happen. If you are not ready to take a look at yourself, it ain't going to happen. And yeshiva is the best time to do it, and winter's bond is our longest chunk. And it cycles, it goes up, it goes down, but we're here now. Let's get to work.